The operating budget for the year was $94,571. At the end of 10 months, $17,863 is remaining. How much has been expended? $67,708, $67,807, $76,708, or $87,706. Answer is C, $76,708. Cavitation is a problem with pumps. What can be done to prevent it from happening? Clear the blow-off valve, place another pump online, reduce the suction head, or reduce the suction lift. Answer is D, reduce the suction lift. The least head loss in a pipeline would be caused by a fully open angle valve, check valve, gate valve, or globe valve. So C, gate valve. In a conventional treatment plant using pH adjustment, the minimum number of runs on a jar test is 1, 2, 3, 4. Answer is A, 1. To convert milligrams per liter to grains per gallon, multiply milligrams per liter by 98.6, 62.4, 17.1, or 8.34. Answer C, 17.1. Taste and odors from phenolic compounds may be blank by chlorination. Decreased, increased, or removed. The answer is increased. Calcium oxide is also called slaked lime, quick lime, hydrated lime, dehydrated lime. It's B, quick lime. If a water tank is filled with water to a height of 40 foot and the tank is 20 foot in diameter, the pressure at the base of the tank is how many pounds per square inch? 17.32, 62.4, 144, 1,440. Answer is A, 17.32. From a sanitary standpoint, the pressure in a distribution system should not be allowed to fall to zero because the chlorine residual will escape. Low pressure allows bacteria to multiply. Groundwater may enter and back siphonage may occur. None of the above. Answer is C, groundwater may enter and back siphonage may occur. State I'm in, if you get under 20 psi in a distribution system, you're supposed to issue a precautionary boil water notice and pull bacterial samples. So I cannot pronounce this word, so I'm just going to call it hydroacid. Which one of the following is a hazard connected with using hydroacid? Corrosiveness, explosiveness, flammability, none of the above. It's an acid, corrosiveness. Static suction head plus friction suction head plus static discharge head plus friction discharge head make up the blank of a pump. Operating pressure, pump curve, total dynamic head, velocity head. The answer is C, total dynamic head. The volume of a cone with a radius of 8 foot and a height of 12 foot is how many cubic feet? 84, 256, 502, or 804. So the volume of a cone is pi times radius squared times height divided by 3. So your answer is D, 804 cubic feet. Water is at its greatest density at a temperature of what? 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 degrees Fahrenheit, 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Answer is B, 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit. A heavy growth of algae in a surface water reservoir will have which of the following effects? I'm going to lower the pH, raise the pH, or it will have no effect on pH. And the answer is B, it will raise the pH. A step in determining the threshold odor number is accounting the odor-producing organisms present, diluting the sample with DI water, diluting the sample with odor-free water, or matching the odor against the standards. Answer C, diluting the sample with odor-free water. A centrifugal pump, when operating normally, shows a discharge pressure of 100 psi, and the Venturi meter shows a flow rate of 20,000 gallons per minute. Suddenly, the pressure gauge drops to 90 psi, and the flow rate increases to 23,000 gallons per minute. What could have happened? Faulty gauge in manometer tube, a large leak in the pump discharge line, foreign matter caught in the Venturi tube throat, the packing sucking air. Be a large leak in the pump discharge line. A test on a water supply showed hardness of 232 milligrams per liter. If treatment reduces this by 21%, what should the hardness be after treatment? 138 milligrams per liter, 174 milligrams per liter, 183 milligrams per liter, 211 milligrams per liter. Answer is C, 183 milligrams per liter. A water treatment plant used 647 chlorine gas cylinders during 1 year of operating. Average withdrawal from each cylinder was 138 pounds. What was the total pounds of chlorine used? 89,875 pounds, 89,286 pounds, 70,872 pounds, or 69,876 pounds. The answer is B, 89,286 pounds. The bactericidal action of free available chlorine compared to combined available chlorine is greater, less, the same under most conditions, or not possible to determine. A, greater. Free chlorine is a better disinfectant, but the risk of disinfectant byproducts is higher. The condition in infants known as a word I can't pronounce, also known as blue baby syndrome, is thought to be caused mainly by high concentrations of what? Phosphate, nitrate, fluoride, chloride. And that answer is going to be B, nitrate. The flow through a water treatment plant is 27,777 gallons per minute. What is that flow in million gallons per day? 0.27 million gallons a day, 14 million gallons a day, 27 million gallons a day, or 40 million gallons a day. It's going to be 40 million gallons a day. So gallons per minute times 60 minutes in an hour times 24 hours in a day divided by a million. Vertical turbine pumps that are used in wells may be oil lubricated or water lubricated. Operators should use extreme care not to start any water lubricated pumps before making sure that bearings are dry, bearings are wet, valve on the discharge side is closed, valve on the suction side is closed. Answer is going to be B, that the bearings are wet. The chemical symbol for potassium is Al, Ba, K, PO. The answer is K. Concentrations of hardness are expressed in terms of a percentage of calcium hardness to total hardness, calcium and magnesium hardness, milligrams per liter as CaCO3, or soft to very hard. Answer is C, milligrams per liter as CaCO3. Amperometric titration is used to measure alkalinity, chlorine residual, pH, total hardness. Answer is B, chlorine residual. Mark the correct number of coliform per 100 milliliters when a membrane filter count shows 43 coliform colonies and 1 milliliter of sample was filtered. 430, 4,300, 43,000, or 430,000. So it's 43 per 1, so multiply the 43 by 100 and get you the answer is B, 4,300. There's a video on my YouTube playlist that shows how membrane filtration is done. Non-settable solids are classified as what kind of solids? Suspended, colloidal, and dissolved, colloidal, dissolved, and total dissolved, colloidal, bacterial, and suspended, or coarse, fine, and very fine. The answer is A, suspended, colloidal, and dissolved. Your pump broke down, your storage tank contained 1 million gallons, and water was being withdrawn at a rate of 0.5 million gallons a day. How long would it take for the tank to empty? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. The answer is B, 2 days. The chemical formula for copper sulfate is CaCO, CaCO3, CuSO4, 5H2O, H2SO4. And the answer is C, CuSO4, 5H2O. A venturi tube increases the velocity and decreases the pressure as water flows through it. This type of tube is used for to aerate the water, measure the amount of chlorine in the water, measure the amount of suspended solids in the water, or measure the rate of water flowing through it. It is to measure the rate of water flowing through it. The amount of chlorine actually used can be best determined by calculating the chlorine demand, converting the dosage rate at 8-hour intervals to pounds used, WAG method, or the use of scales. Use of scales, D. The most hazardous conditions associated with storage areas, slurry tanks, or other confined spaces where wet activated carbon is present is combustion, depletion of oxygen, fire, or oxidation. The answer is the depletion of oxygen. Two tests used to monitor the disinfection process are chlorine demand and chlorine residual tests, chlorine residual and bacteriological tests, membrane filter and multi-tube tests, standard plate count, and chlorine demand test. Chlorine residual and bacteriological test, B. A calm area within a settling basin necessary for suspended materials to settle in is the what zone? Inlet zone, outlet zone, settling zone, or sludge zone? The answer is C, settling zone. As long as free chlorine and organic precursors are available, the total THM production will most probably continue to fall, continue to rise, fall and then rise, or stay the same. It's going to continue to rise, B. Free chlorine residual in water is measured as the amount of chlorine in water, chlorine applied as measured in milligrams per liter, chlorine in raw water as comes from the stream, reservoir, or well, or uncombined chlorine that remains in the water after the chlorine has been applied and allowed to react. Answer is D. Uncombined chlorine that remains in the water after chlorine has been applied and allowed to react. Chlorine use at a water treatment plant averages 81 pounds per day. Assuming the average daily flow is 13 million gallons a day, what is the dose rate in milligrams per liter? 0.5, 0.75, 1.0, or 715? The answer is going to be B, 0.75. The chemical formula for calcium carbonate is CaCO3, CuSO4, NaCl, or NaCO? The answer is A, CaCO3. CuSO4 is copper 2 sulfate, NaCl is sodium chloride, NaCO is sodium carbonate. The chemical formula for alum is AlSO, Al parentheses CaCO3 parentheses, Al2 parentheses SO4 parentheses 3 by 14 H2O, or Fe parentheses SO4 parentheses 3. The answer is C, Al2 parentheses SO4 parentheses 3 by 14 H2O. If a valve in a pipeline is closed too rapidly, it will cause the water in that pipeline to come to a sudden stop, causing waves of high pressure that oscillate back and forth in the pipeline. This reaction is known as what? Hydraulic gradient, pipeline dynamics, static oscillation, or water hammer? Answer is D, water hammer. 8 boxes of pump packing were delivered and the invoice showed $15.93 each. What is the total cost of the packing? $106.34, $109.31, $111.51, or $127.44? The answer is D, $127.44. A cylindrical tank with a radius of 5 foot is filled to a depth of 10 foot with water. Approximately how many gallons of water does it contain? 578 gallons, 785 gallons, 870 gallons, 5,870 gallons. The answer is D, 5,870 gallons. Again, it's going to be pi times 5 squared times 10 feet, which gives you 785 cubic feet. So you're going to multiply by 7.48 gallons in a cubic foot. One of the most common causes of errors in water quality analysis is contaminated reagent, improper sampling, poor lab equipment, poorly trained operator. The answer is going to be B, improper sampling. It could also be D, poorly trained operator. Improper sampling. One of the problems with ductile iron pipe is cutting the pipe, flexibility, lack of being malleable, limitations on pressure. The answer is A, cutting the pipe. A cylindrical tank with a radius of 5 foot and a height of 10 foot is filled with water. 3 pounds of chemical is dissolved in the water. What is the dosage? 112 milligrams per liter, 75 milligrams per liter, 61 milligrams per liter, 27 milligrams per liter. Answer is C, 61 milligrams per liter. Centrifugal pump noises will most likely be due to cavitation, excessive head pressure, high velocity, or sand. Answer is A, cavitation. To facilitate check valve repairs, a gate valve should be placed between the pump and the check valve, in parallel to the check valve, on the discharge side of the check valve, on the suction side of the pump. Answer C, on the discharge side of the check valve. The invert elevation of a pipe refers to the elevation of the center of the line of the pipe, to the bottom on the inside, of the bottom on the outside, or on the top of the inside. The answer is B, of the bottom on the inside. The definition is an invert level is defined as the elevation of the inside bottom of a pipe, trench culvert, or tunnel. It may also be considered the floor level of a pipe. Invert levels are essential for assessing the flow in a piping system. That says they're especially crucial in a system that relies on gravity flow. More of a waste treatment thing, but good to know. The term Clarification is most closely related to all-in plant treatment process, purification, sedimentation, or coagulation and flocculation process. So the answer is C, sedimentation. 5 grains per gallon is how many milligrams per liter? 35, 58, 86, or 506? The answer is 86. 1 grain per gallon equals 17.1 milligrams per liter. Hydrogen sulfide in well water will cause an odor similar to ammonia, chlorine gas, rotten eggs, fish eggs. Answer is C, rotten eggs. Which laboratory test in a water plant is concerned with indicator changes at pH 8.3 and a pH of 4.5? Total hardness, total chlorine residual, pH, or alkalinity? Answer is D, alkalinity. Which one of the following types of pumps works on the basis of inertia or mass moving in circular motion? Airlift, centrifugal, diaphragm, or a gear? Answer is going to be B, centrifugal. The purpose of the jar test is to determine the amount of chlorine to add for breakpoint chlorination, correct amount of coagulant to use for proper coagulation, length of the flash mix, the proper amount of mixing and settling time to remove turbidity. Answer is B, correct amount of coagulant to use for proper coagulation. The indicator methyl orange is used in the test for alkalinity, chlorine residual, pH, or total hardness. The answer is A, alkalinity. Hardness in water is caused mainly by the presence of calcium and magnesium compounds, iron and manganese, lime and soda ash, or turbidity in suspended solids. There's A, calcium and magnesium compounds. Water that is high in sulfate can cause diarrhea, hardening in the arteries, molting of tooth enamel, or staining of plumbing fixtures. Answer is A, diarrhea. Staining of plumbing fixtures is iron and manganese. The molting of tooth enamel is from fluoride. From what I can see, if you have arsenic in your water, it can cause the hardening of the arteries. The effluent weir of a clarifier is located along the rim of a 60-foot diameter tank. The length of the weir is how many feet? 188, 201, 248, 300. The answer is A. Length of the weir is diameter times pi. That's how you find that. A number of grab sample test results that are averaged together constitute composite test result, poor analytical procedure, an average concentration, or grounds for violating state or federal regulations. The answer is C, an average concentration. The term aeration is defined as bringing water into intimate contact with what? Air, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, methane. The answer is A, air. Which of the following types of pumps works on the principle of a decrease in the overall specific weight of a confined column of a gas-water mixture? Airlift, centrifugal, diaphragm, or piston? The answer is A, an airlift. A tank holding 2,340 gallons fills in 12 minutes. The rate of flow is 195 gallons per minute, 234 gallons per minute, 284 gallons per minute, 382 gallons a minute. Answer is A, 195 gallons a minute. Divide the gallons by 12 minutes. The chlorine room should be constructed so it can be entered only from inside of the building, lab, outside and inside of the building, outside of the building. Answer is D, outside of the building. A rectangular ground storage tank is 60 foot wide, 120 foot long, and 12 foot deep. How many gallons does it hold? 86,400, 646,272, 720,576, or 800,000? Answer is B, 646,272 gallons. Length times width times height times 7.48 gallons per cubic foot. Destruction of harmful bacteria by chlorine is directly related to contact time and chlorine concentration, sufficient chlorine dosage levels, whether or not breakpoint chlorination is practiced, whether pre-chlorinating is practiced. Answer is A, contact time and chlorine concentration. What type of treatment should be given when a well produces red water? Fluoride removal, taste and odor control, sedimentation, or pH adjustment, aeration, and filtration? Answer is going to be D, pH adjustment, aeration, and filtration. The chemical that is most commonly added to reservoirs for the control of algae is aluminum sulfate, calcium hypochlorite, copper sulfate, sodium chloride. Answer is C, copper sulfate. Aluminum sulfate is a coagulant, calcium hypochlorite is a disinfectant, sodium chloride is also a disinfectant. The standard sample for the multiple tube fermentation method of testing for coliform consists of what portions? 10 5 milliliter portions, 2 10 milliliter portions, 5 10 milliliter portions, or 10 10 milliliter portions? The answer is C, 5 10 milliliter portions. Recent studies on pre-chlorination practices point out that the interaction of chlorine with organic matter in raw water forms what? Carcinogens, lysergic acid, other odor-related compounds, or trihalomethanes? The answer is D, trihalomethanes. Again, a lot of systems where I'm at don't use free chlorine, they use monochloramine to avoid trihalomethanes. A new water treatment facility for a small town is estimated to cost $1,493,472. What is the average cost per person if 1,986 people live in the town? $5,720, $2,750, $752, or $572? The answer is C, $752. The purpose in practicing breakpoint chlorination is to eliminate taste and odor, increase the contact time needed to kill disease-causing organisms, produce a free chlorine residual, which is an effective disinfectant, and reduce chlorine demand. Answer is C, to produce a chlorine residual, which is an effective disinfectant. Bacteria pollution moving underground in shattered limestone will be removed in 10 feet, will be removed in 100 feet, will be removed in less than a mile, may never be removed. It will never be removed. D. How many milligrams per liter of chlorine will be added when 10 pounds of chlorine gas is added to 333,000 gallons of water? 8.34 milligrams per liter, 4.17 milligrams per liter, 3.6 milligrams per liter, or 0.5 milligrams per liter? The answer is C, 3.6 milligrams per liter. The total dynamic head against which a pump must operate is the friction head, is the static head, is the sum of the static head and the head due to friction loss, must always be above the shutoff head. Answer is C, is the sum of the static head and the head due to friction loss. A centrifugal pump should never be run empty except momentarily because a serious counterpressure would be built up by excessive vacuum. It is useless to run a pump without getting water. The excessive end thrust of the shaft would damage the thrust bearings. The parts lubricated by water would be damaged. Answer is D. The parts lubricated by water would be damaged. When a centrifugal pump with new packing is started and the packing seems to leak air, the proper procedure is to stop the motor and repack the stuffing box, put in some heavy oil and then gradually tighten the gland, put in more packing, or ignore the condition. Answer is A. Stop the motor and repack the stuffing box. You'd be surprised at how many people out there just ignore the condition. Optimum coagulant dosage can be established by observing the pilot filter, performing jar tests, performing total solids tests, breakpoint of chlorination. And the answer to that is B, performing jar tests. Which word best describes chemical combination of substance in the solution so as to cause separation in the insoluble form? Stabilization, saturation, precipitation, or coagulation? The answer is C, precipitation. If the flow through a water treatment plant is 300,000 gallons per day and a dosage of 2 milligrams per liter of chemical is applied, how many pounds of chemical will be used in 30 days? Answer 100 pounds, 150 pounds, 175 pounds, or 200 pounds. The answer is B, 150 pounds. Corrosive waters can be the result of the presence of what? Acids, calcium, magnesium, organic materials. Answer is A, acids. A substance added to water to promote the formation of a protective film in transmission pipes is known as what? Pacifier, a passivator, an inhibitor, or cathodic protection? Answer is C, an inhibitor. How many pounds of a chemical must be added to 50,000 gallons of water to produce a dosage of 75 milligrams per liter? 15 pounds, 31 pounds, 60 pounds, or 150 pounds? Answer is B, 31 pounds. Again, it's the Davidson pie chart, so that's how you do that math. The volume of water contained in a storage tank 14 foot in diameter and 20 foot deep is approximately how many cubic feet? 900, 2,000, 3,100, or 4,200? The answer is C, 3,100. Blue stone is a common name for copper sulfate, mineral in water that causes blue stains, mineral not dissolvable in water, or stone for sharpening a chisel. The answer is A, it's a common name for copper sulfate, an algicide. The outlet of a forced ventilation system for the chlorinator room should be located above the window, near the floor, on the roof, or 6 foot above the floor. The answer is going to be B, near the floor. Remember, chlorine gas 2.5 times heavier than air. Water leaking to the surface after operating an old valve is probably caused by broken stem, dried out packing, plugged weep holes, or none of the above. Answer is B, dried out packing. Pathogens are best described as an acute case of indigestion, an indicator test for viruses, cancer-producing agents, or disease-causing organisms. D, disease-causing organisms. How are valves checked to determine that they are holding properly? By compressed air, by electrostatic test, pressure test, by a torque wrench. The answer is C, by a pressure test. Activated carbon is used to remove alkalinity, hardness, pH, or taste and odors. The answer is D, taste and odors. How many gallons does 1,000 foot of 15-inch diameter pipe contain? 64 gallons, 1,227 gallons, 2,295 gallons, or 9,179 gallons? And the answer is D, 9,179 gallons. When hard water is softened by the ZeO light ion exchange process, which substance is exchanged for calcium and magnesium that will then appear in the produced water? Chloride, nitrate, sodium, sulfate. The answer is going to be C, sodium. By salt put in your water softener. The chemical commonly used for coagulation and water treatment is alum, chlorine, copper sulfate, or soda ash. Answer is A, alum. Again, chlorine is for disinfecting. Copper sulfate, which is also known as bluestone, is an algicide. And then soda ash, also known as sodium carbonate, is often used for pH control. The disinfection process kills all bacteria, only protozoans, pathogenic bacteria, or all algae. The answer is C, pathogenic bacteria. It's never going to kill all when you're disinfecting, because that would be sterilization. By continuously withdrawing chlorine, how many pounds per day can be withdrawn safely from a 150-pound cylinder at room temperature without the line freezing? 10, 40, 70, or 100? The answer is B, 40. A 1-ton cylinder is 400 pounds a day. A rectangular tank measures 80 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 20 feet deep. If 100,000 gallons of water is pumped into the tank, how high will the level of the tank rise? 2.5 feet, 5.6 feet, 25.5 feet, or 55.5 feet? The answer is 5.6 feet. What is the amount of chlorine required to treat 5 million gallons a day to provide a 0.8 milligram per liter residual and satisfy a 2.4 milligram per liter chlorine demand? 33.33 pounds, 66.67 pounds, 100 pounds, or 133.33 pounds? The answer is D. So to get this one, you have to add your 2.4 milligram per liter and your 0.8 milligram per liter to get the total amount of chlorine in there. And you multiply it by 5 million gallons a day, and then multiply that by 8.34 pounds. Dosage, flow, and the conversion. What is the detention time in a storage tank 20 foot high and 30 foot in diameter when the rate of flow is 500,000 gallons per day? 2 hours and 10 minutes, 3 hours and 48 minutes, 4 hours and 27 minutes, 5 hours and 4 minutes? The answer is D, 5 hours and 4 minutes. So detention time in days, it's the tank volume in gallons divided by the flow rate in gallons per day, multiply by 24 hours, or multiply by 1,440 minutes, depending on which one you're trying to get. If pressure at the water main is 60 psi, what is the static pressure on the plumbing faucet 40 foot above the main? 40 psi, 42.7 psi, 62.7 psi, or 97.3 psi. So to get this, your loss of pressure is 0.433 psi per foot of height. So you do 60 psi minus 40 foot times 0.433, and that gets you B, 42.7 psi. Discharge valves on ton containers should be positioned according to the green arrows painted on the end of the container, horizontally opposite the other, one above the other, randomly. The answer is C, one above the other.